Hello, Dungeoneers. Welcome back to the Nexus. How's it going? We're going to have some fun today. We are going to be doing some building today. We're going to be going through and doing a couple of low poly minis. Preferably, I think we're going to be doing some warriors for Tavern Tales. Speaking of which, we have a... Hey, Gelf, what up? Welcome to the chat. Speaking of which, we have a special guest tonight. The developer and creative mind behind behind Tavern Tales, StudioShinto himself is here. Shinto, you wanna say hi to everybody?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Mitch. I am the owner of StudioShinto. I created Tavern Tales. I'm still in the process of creating Tavern Tales, which is a tabletop role-playing game platform, I guess you could say, for VR, where you can play tabletop RPGs with your friends online in VR, and as long as you're not the DM, on PC as well. But yeah, I appreciate having me on and letting me see your process for making these things. They're fantastic work.
No, of course. Thanks for being here, man. We really appreciate it. It's we love getting the input of other creators. So having you on the stream is very, very cool. We appreciate you being here.
No problem.
So, and Gelf is also waving at you as well in chat. I'm not
Hey,
sure. Not sure if you're watching.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be diving into Gravity Sketch here. Anybody else? We have a assistant in the house, CR. He's going to be down here taking care of the tech side of things. CR, if you want to poke your hand up and wave at everybody. Yeah.
No, I'm tech guy.
He's hardcore focused. So yeah, he'll be taking care of the tech and everything on this end. Dude, just sit in the chair. There we go. See, he's here. He is here. I promise. He exists. How you doing, Shu? Good to see you. Alright. You know the saddest part? I quit chewing tobacco months ago. Now I can't kick the damn gum. I don't understand. I mean, what, trade one addiction for another, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and dive in here. Okay, where are my controllers? Here we go. Alrighty. Let's make sure you guys can see what I'm doing here. So I was thinking we go ahead and start with the male, save it, and then jump over to the female. Do you want these to be rigged so that you can repose them later, or would you prefer just a static posed model?
I mean, honestly, I perfectly trust your posing. From what I've seen, you're one of the best posers when it comes to like getting the movement lines and just kind of the feel for a pose. You've done really great at that. So yeah, absolutely. If you just want to hand me a static model, I'm more than okay with what you got.
Awesome, appreciate it. What's up, man?
Camera.
Oh, okay. It's not letting you grab it, is it?
No.
All right. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with that. Oh, okay. You're just keeping the. You should be able to turn on a smoothed head cam, and that'll help a lot. Well, I appreciate your vote of confidence, man. That means a lot to me.
Not a problem.
I have to admit, I've been excited to get to work on this guy, on these models, because I understand that right now there's only really one hero menu that's been put in, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. It is just a random rogue type character that I threw in as a default player miniature. But yeah, having a larger selection or a selection at all, really, of character minis was definitely on the list of things to do, but I just haven't got around to. So I super appreciate the help here, and I'm sure a lot of people are with me in saying that they're excited to see this because yeah, it's been a highly requested addition.
Hey, well, I appreciate the opportunity to do it. You know, this is 3D modeling and design just in general is something that I've always had a lot of love for. So being able to work on a commercial project like this is something that's really it's kind of a bucket list item for me. You know,
That's so cool.
So,
yeah. Have you
yeah,
been doing Blender for like as your main bread and butter, or how long have you been doing Gravity Sketch as like your main thing, and then moving Blender for posing?
So I started doing Gravity Sketch, I think, day 2 of owning a an Oculus Quest.
Okay.
And up until then, I had done a little bit of work with Blender, but really not that much.
Okay.
Mainly just because it was such a complex system, and up until 2 years ago, my work really didn't allow me to mess around with it that much. I was active duty military for 13 years. I was a submariner, so I really didn't get much chance to work with it very much, because I mean, you've messed around with it. It's not a simple system to learn. There's certainly a learning curve. Oh, shot! Did Gelf host? Man, she's awesome.
Also, start watching the chat.
I'm not 100% sure. Mitch, are you watching chat?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
I'm going back and forth. I'm also working on this latest update, which I'm hoping to have out tonight, and it's going to be a big one. So I'm still I'm just kind of hopping back and forth between the two.
Oh, no way! What's may I ask what's going to be in the update?
Okay. Let me pull up my task board, because that'll remind me of everything that I've done up until now. 1 second. Trello. So right now I'm working on the final touches of the request system. I kind of changed the way that all works in the back end, so you can have pre-generated character sheets that people select from rather than just having to submit their own. You can have a co-DM, so if you want to specify another person who is also, has admin access onto your game and can DM with you, you can do that, as well as just the entire custom character sheets. The old ones are just going out the door entirely. They won't even be accessible anymore. The sheets will still show up in your list, but once you click on them, it'll automatically convert to a custom sheet. And then once you save it, you pretty much won't ever see that other sheet again. I mean, all the data is still there, but just getting that conversion, as well as the whole sheet system, has been a lot longer than I thought it would be, but it's definitely it's happening. So as well as that, an entire interface overhaul for both the website and Tavern Tales itself. Both graphically and kind of the way some of the stuff works, as well as the back end changing to a whole different UI system that allows me to more dynamically place UI elements. That was something that was very necessary for the dynamic character sheets or the custom sheets, because you have the ability to drag modules in wherever you want, name them whatever you want, so you can, in theory, create a custom or a character sheet for any system out there. So having the ability to do that means I also have to be able to replicate that in Tavern Tales, so the UI system had to change drastically. Custom sheet templates. So once you make your character sheet and you really like it and you want to share it with other people, you can create a publicly available template, name it whatever you want, and then people can then grab your template and just automatically populate with, okay, I put these modules and I named the modules this with these elements inside of them. It strips your values from them, and they just have, they can input their own. But it allows for new people where if you're doing like a custom game or something, be like, I already made the character sheet, just hop in, pick my template, and go. It makes it a little bit easier for anyone who doesn't want to specify how their layout, and they can go through and even update your template to wherever, or customize your template, I guess I should say, to whoever they want, which just brings in the base, and then they can move stuff around, and all that gets replicated in the game. Okay, let's go throughout the list here. A couple web update things, like the back buttons before would just take you completely out of the page, hitting back one time. Now that works like it should. Dynamic save slots, you can have as many as you want, as well as be able to name your save slots, which shows up in game. So you can just pick the map, whatever map you have named, and be like, okay, yeah, I want this encounter, rather than trying to remember, did I put that on slot 5? What was that? Right. So that's there. Confirmations everywhere. So anytime you delete or overwrite something, it will ask you to confirm, because I've had more than one time where people have erased entire maps on accident because it didn't confirm that, oh yeah, I want to load this in over that one without saving it.
Which
that's
is,
in the...
any creator knows is probably one of the worst pains. you could feel it. It's just that shoulder sag moment where you just, oh no.
Yes.
Like about 10 minutes of your life just disappears off.
Yeah, I've had a couple people hit me up almost panicking, like, hey, I just put 4 hours making this map and I accidentally saved over it. Is it still here? And I was like, no, I'm sorry, man. I am so sorry, but that is gone. A couple times they've like accidentally deleted a character and some like slots with it, or like a game, and I was able to pull those back by like scraping the database. But yeah, people have accidentally saved over stuff, and it's a real shame, because I 100% know how that works, especially like, I don't know, just developing this game for one. Unity, which is the program I use to do it, does not have an autosave feature.
Oh no.
I don't know why, but every once in a while I'll just randomly crash, or my computer will reboot overnight without me remembering that I didn't save. So I've gotten into the habit now of just spamming Control S every 5 minutes,
Yeah.
I mean, most games, even when you like make a build, it'll save it at that point in time. Nope, not this. I know the pain.
Gravity Sketch has saved my butt several times. The program crashes and I'm going, oh please still be there, and I'll go in and it says resume last session, and I'm going, oh thank God. It's just like, you just can't. There's no describing that feeling of relief.
Yep.
So especially when you've spent hours of work, hours of your time putting it into some kind of piece of artwork. It's
definitely been more than once that I've been saved by an autosave.
Right.
Okay, what else? Oh, universal game times. So currently, as it stands, if you put in what time your game is going to be, so you have a publicly available game, you set your time. That's your local time. It just says 5 p.m. And everyone's like, what time is that? And you can specify your time zone, but people then have to try to like do the math backwards, and they're like asking, hey, what time zone? Because they didn't even see that. Now, since it's already taking in your time zone from this time just straight off your computer or your phone, it will now automatically adjust that. When you go in and view someone else's game, it says, automatically adjusted for your time zone, and it'll give you the game time in your local time. So hopefully cuts out a lot of confusion for that, because we've got players around the world that are doing campaigns. People are trying to join someone in Europe from the US, and they are having all sorts of issues with that. So that's good. And then just a bunch of bug fixes. A lot of the crashing that people are getting from when they move a character sheet around. We had an issue, or I have an issue currently in the build, but it's been patched out now, that whenever a DM loads in a map, it then starts causing issues for the players when they're trying to, it makes the web browser automatically appear and then causes a crash. So I fixed all the crashes that I'm aware of. I'm sure we'll find more, just because of all the different systems that are coming into play here. People were saying that when you adjust the health on the miniature, if you click the miniature and see the health bubble and then try changing it from there, that messes with things as well. Character sheet, main menu. Oh yeah, the main menu for the PC where people weren't able to log in sometimes. I got that fixed as well. And then players randomly being kicked. So all that should be good, but the majority of the changes are all coming from the universal character sheets,
Right.
co-DM, dynamic save slot naming, confirmations, and the universal times, as well as prefab sheets.
Man, so you were not kidding when you said that this is a big update.
No, yeah,
That sounds like there is a whole lot coming out of this one.
as far as raw content goes, this is one of the biggest I've put out so far, as far as changes and like highly requested things.
It's funny. Every player that I talk to, because ever since I became a part of this community, one of the community is one of the biggest parts of gaming to me.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I've noticed is that the Tavern Tales gaming community, both the players and the DMs, are some of the most active I've ever seen. It's amazing how often I hear, I see something going on in the Discord. Oh boy, this thing's glitching out hard. But yeah, I see. Don't you do it? My Oculus is telling me I've earned a new reward for my home.
Oh yeah, because you're using the PC.
Yeah,
connection.
using the link. Okay, all right. Have we done? Are we done with the freaking out? Yeah, it looks like it. Cool. Anyway.
Yeah.
What I was saying is that one of the most common comments that I hear about that I hear from the members of the community is how active you as a developer are in the community. You're constantly out there talking to people and finding out what they want, and that obviously shows in the way that you present this game.
Well, thanks. That's really I appreciate that. I've put a lot of effort into being responsive to the community, just because I feel like if they're the ones shaping the game, it's going to be something that's going to be great. Like I've got some core functions that are absolutely going to have to be in the game, but a lot of stuff that's been added has all been at user request, and it's a lot of really great suggestions for stuff. Some people obviously go overboard and want the world, but for the most part, I've been able to try to put in as much as possible, and anything that I'm not able to do right now, I throw on the backlog, and yeah, there's been some really great improvements because of user suggestions. So I always try to stay pretty active and answer questions. That's one of the reasons that I have the closed beta. If you want to get in on that, you've got to be a Discord member, just because if you run into issues, I want you to have access directly to not only a community of players and DMs, but as well as access directly to the developers. So if you've got questions, concerns, or comments, you can come straight to me.
Yeah,
which I think is pretty useful.
That's good business. I mean, it gives the players a lot more, for lack of a better word, it gives them more say. I think it. The cool thing about being a member of a beta test is that your voice is directly active in developing that game.
That's very true.
And you, I think, as a game developer, it seems like you kind of struck gold with your community because they're so active.
Yeah, I'm not a big part of a lot of other gaming communities, so I don't know for sure. Like I don't have really a benchmark to work off of, but just being active in my own Discord, I realize, there's a lot of people who are very active. Yeah, there's people always talking about something. Someone's always got a game brewing. They want suggestions for this or ideas on something else. There's a lot of creativity flow in there, which I really appreciate.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of creativity. I mean, God, look at the entries that came in for the DM build contest. I mean, wow. That was for anybody who's watching it doesn't know what happened. When Mitch and I first agreed to do an interview, I wanted to make to get some footage for showing off the creativity of the community. So we had a contest for three different minis, which I've actually built now 2 of them on stream. But the contest was for them to build a snapshot of a game and show us the creativity that they could use on with this platform. And man, some of those entries were incredible. Really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, I love seeing user creations. Absolutely love it. People do some crazy stuff with map pieces that I never expected. Stuff that I designed for one purpose, and they're using it for something entirely different, and it's been really great.
Yeah, I can imagine. For your part, that must be really fulfilling to see a program that you built being used so widely and so diversely.
Yeah,
That's
for
gotta
sure.
feel cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's fantastic seeing all this stuff that gets put out there. It definitely helps keep up steam for just putting stuff together and using, all my nights and weekends developing this. It gets sometimes monotonous, but anytime I get a new system or a new thing, or like someone suggesting like, oh man, that's a really cool idea, or seeing something that someone else has done that I really like, it helps to keep motivated. So it's been pretty awesome.
Now, that leads me to another question. When you first decided that you were going to make this system, did you have any idea that it was going to be this much work?
Honestly, I knew it was going to be a lot of work. Like, I knew that going into it. But there's just so much more. It's far more complicated than I expected.
Right.
I knew it was going to be a lot of work, but yeah, I didn't know exactly how much. I didn't really set expectations like, oh yeah, this is only going to be X, Y, Z. I've done at least, development work for long enough, not game dev. This is my first serious entry into game development, but like as professionally, I'm a web developer and application designer. So I know kind of the development process and how long that kind of stuff takes. And usually almost every time it's somehow going to take longer or more complicated than you thought. But yeah, no, this has proved just as true as every other time to be more complicated and take more time than I thought it would be.
I can imagine. We when we first started looking at turning Nexus Dungeoneering into a business, I don't think any of us understood how really what we were getting into. We knew that it was going to be a lot of work, but it's kind of amazing to watch things explode up in their own and take on a life of their own. So that's and a good portion of that is actually due to you and your kind of leap of faith in letting us be involved in this process. So
yeah, man, I think it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, no, thank you. I think having a cool package and like, I don't know, just even if just a proof of concept to show that this could work, I think it'll be a really good opportunity for everyone.
Well, we have been working our butts off designing this DLC. I think you're going to be impressed. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it translates over. We did a physical playthrough on Sunday just to test the base mechanics. And man, it was a lot of fun. It was honestly more fun than I was expecting it to be. For which I know sounds kind of self-defeating, but that's not. It just for a game that had not been tested yet. I did not expect it to come together as well as it had.
That's awesome.
So,
how long have you guys been like designing the system?
Well, I've been the actual system a couple of weeks, really.
Oh, jeez.
Not very long. I mean, I've had the idea for this game in my head for a long time. So the base concept was already there, and thankfully it gave me the opportunity to get a really good idea of what I wanted the base game to look like and feel like. So that sped things up a lot, but more than that, it was having CR and Gelf around to help test it. that was we came up with a whole series of new mechanics that all made, you know, the game just that much better. So
Awesome.
yeah, I was really, really happy with the way that worked. So I'm trying to keep this guy fairly low poly for right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if I've got the polys for it, I'm hoping I can come in here and make some improvements on that chest armor.
For sure.
But yeah, I think I like where he's going so far.
I like the style. A little bit of WoW, a little bit of maybe Destiny thrown in.
A little bit, yeah. Just a touch. I've always loved these sword breakers on armor. I think they're awesome.
Yeah.
Even though they are historically insanely
inaccurate.
They're not inaccurate. They did exist. They were just dangerous.
Oh.
They were more danger than you could imagine. Because if you think about it, right, the sword breaker's entire purpose, this portion right here, is so that if a sword was to come in and hit your shoulder, it's going to hit that sword breaker and go up and over your helmet.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, if your sword comes down and you hit somebody on the top of the helmet, and it slides down into the inside of your sword breaker,
mm-hmm.
that's going to now guide that blade directly into your throat. So, yeah. So if somebody was trying to decapitate you this way, it was great. If somebody was trying to cut you in half this way, that just made sure that it happened.
That's funny.
So, yeah, it's just one of those things. Like it's a risk that you're going to take no matter what.
Yeah.
So
I had never thought about that.
Yeah. I used to build armor, so in fact I still do. I've got an order for a cosplay suit of armor that I've got to build that I have yet to work on.
Out of what?
Foam
material do you use for your armor? Foam? Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be EVA foam. I've got actually a friend from the Navy who he and I are both big Ruby fans. I don't know if you ever watched that. It's a Rooster Teeth production.
Mm-mm.
Really, really good show. It's actually it's won a lot of awards. It's, kind of hailed as the first true American anime, which is really cool. I've been following Rooster Teeth, the company that created it, for literally since they were created back in 2003.
Oh dang! I used to watch some Red versus Blue back when that was like, I don't know, the first 4 or 5 seasons of that. But that's about my extent of Rooster Teeth.
Yep. Yeah, that was it. Like that was my experience with Rooster Teeth. I remember watching Red versus Blue before YouTube was really a thing.
Oh dang.
So yeah, that was I've been following them, a good portion of my adult life, all of my adult life, really. So when Ruby came out, I was kind of instantly hooked anyway. But yeah, my buddy is wanting to go as Jean Arc from that show to RTX this year. Well,
I'm not sure what that is.
RTX is it's the Rooster Teeth Expo. It's the convention that they put on.
They have their own?
Oh man. So that company started as 6 guys in the spare bedroom of an apartment.
Mm-hmm. It
is now over 500 people with 3 different locations around the world.
Oh dang!
Yeah, I mean they've Red versus Blue still holds the record for the longest running web series in history.
Is it still going?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's on season 20 something, I think.
I had no idea.
They've been going a long time. Yeah, but it's definitely still around. It's still a thing. So, all right, that looks a little bit better. Okay, merge tool. Make you the same part. All right. So as the guest tonight, I'm thinking that you're the one who gets the honor of naming this guy. What's we need a background for him. We need to know who this guy is.
All right. Let's think about this. He strikes me as someone who used to be part of, I don't know, maybe say an army, some form of armed force. I don't want to say army, maybe an armed guard.
Okay.
For maybe, royalty. Let's say he used to be part of the royal guard.
Alright, that makes
However,
sense.
he has since been exiled or banished from the royal guard for some sort of noble crime. I'm not sure what. Something not even a real crime, but something that is outlawed. But he did anyway because it's for the greater good. Something like helping a commoner in a place where royalty wasn't allowed. I don't know, something like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hell, we could even you could even say maybe he was like the guard to the princess.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. He was definitely somewhere higher up in the ranks.
Right.
And when he fled, he kept his armor, but has since somewhat repurposed it, like I think Captain America style. When he keeps his outfit, but he just kind of rips off the star and does his own thing with it. It's all like black and stuff. So he kept his royal armor, and is now a what's that called?
An exile.
Kind of like a sword for hire. Not necessarily a mercenary. There's another word I was thinking of. We'll just say mercenary. Anyway, he's a sellsword.
A sellsword. There you go. Makes sense.
Who is now still running from, I guess, as far as they're not really looking for him anymore, the royal guard or the Queen's men, but he is still always wary that they'll be around somewhere. Let's see, for a name.
He's constantly looking for a way to clear his name.
Yeah, I'd go with that. So, he's looking for a way to clear his name, but still he's got bounties to do. As for a name, though, let's say. Hang on. No, not that.
Now, the question is, does Tavern Tales have a random name generator yet?
No, I don't.
Is this a plan for the future? Because I can
have
totally see
no appetite for that. There are more than enough online, and you've got a web browser. You can pull one up if you need to. No way do I want to do that. So let's go with. You know what? I'm a Game of Thrones fan. Let's go with like Rhaegon.
I like it.
It's a little bit, definitely tough, but also not like too scary.
Yeah. I like it, Rhaegon. It's a strong name. It sounds like one of those dudes that you really, really don't want to catch on a bad day in the tavern.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
This is one of those dudes that his honor's already in question, so he's he's just as liable to punch you in the mouth as to buy you a drink. That's what I'm guessing. So yeah, I'm liking this guy so far. All right, so
definitely liking it.
So if he was Royal Guard, I think we definitely have to go with the standard kit for Royal Guard. So we're gonna need a sword and shield here. That's what I'm guessing this guy would wear into battle. Because he's definitely, I mean, he's rocking the tank armor.
Oh, for sure.
So, all right, we'll sketch out the weapons and everything. But let's finish the armor first. Oh, nope.
I think that's it. I think I just finished the last of the web portal updates. I can't think of anything else that needs doing. It's not. I need to change it so that you see the custom sheets in game, but I think that's good. That's awesome. I've got the custom sheet system built out. I just need to not start making those connections now. I'm trying to think of anything else that I'm missing here. One of the great things about having a small army of people testing the game is that they always find the things I miss when I'm trying to test out before. I mean, because I do at least a little bit of testing before each release, but I just kind of plan for the day after or 2 days after to have a patch for every release I do.
Right.
Because there's always something that I've missed, always something that's causing issues. But everyone finds those pretty quickly, and I've got a to-do list pretty quickly after an update, which is nice.
Yeah, I can imagine that's super cool.
Yeah, especially since with a VR game specifically, unit tests are incredibly difficult to do because a lot of the interactions can't be programmed so much because they're physical interactions with a game, and everything is just programmed in. Everything comes from a controller or like key presses. That's a little bit easier to simulate and run unit tests on, so that you can just run through and make sure, okay, all good, awesome, let's release. But with a VR game, it's a little bit more difficult to test physical interactions without actually physically interacting. So having people to help with that has definitely helped it to be a lot less buggy than it probably would be otherwise.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine that. That makes a lot of sense. Cool. And having that huge playtesting army is that's gotta feel good.
It's been very incredibly helpful. I will absolutely say that.
Yeah,
very glad to have
it. It's funny. I've noticed that game developers and people who work in the film industry tend to have a very similar outlook on their jobs. My cousin, one of the reasons why I got interested in film when I was a kid was my cousin was the production manager on BattleBots.
Okay.
And I mean that was the coolest thing on earth at that time. When I found that out, I was like, oh my god, like this isn't an unachievable fantasy, of a little kid. You can actually do this. And I remember talking to her about it, and she said that when it comes to TV or film, everybody there, you're working crazy hours. You're putting up with stressors that are, that'll add years to your life, or take years off of your life and give you, quite a few gray hairs. You're working in sometimes absolutely miserable conditions, and yet there is not a single person on that film crew or in that game development community that has anywhere else that they'd rather be, because they're doing something they absolutely love,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's always fascinated me about the game development world, is that, man, that's gotta rock to make a living doing something that's just that's so much fun.
Yeah, so, I'm sure it's a lot of hard nights, a lot of hard days, like going through and doing 12, 13-hour days sometimes, but in the end, yeah, hopefully you're proud of it. I would say that for independent studios. I don't know so much about the larger ones. As far as like game dev, I can't speak for movies though, but
right.
as far as game devs go, independent studios, yeah, are pretty cool because I mean, a lot of these people are working on their own savings. You know, they've got everything they've got in the game, and they really believe in it rather than just a job where they're programming for money.
Yeah,
and having that kind
there's
of
a
passion for
for it.
something, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's definitely, I think there's something to be said for that when you get an end result that is probably going to be a lot better than it would have been otherwise, And you see that in the big studios where they're just putting out a game for the sake of having another iteration of it. Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty come to mind. Not saying that they're not good games. I've been playing a lot of Modern Warfare. I love that game, but there is an element of just doing what makes money and putting it out rather than it's no one's passion project. No one's like, man,
Exactly.
I just want to grow up to work on a Call of Duty game. I think that that's going to be great. So having something that you're passionate about and you really want to see succeed definitely adds to the game. Which more than anything, this game that I'm working on now is for me. Sure, I'm sure other people want to play it, and I'm glad to see that there's an appetite for it. But first and foremost, I love the idea of this, and I want to be able to play this game. So
yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I think that's the difference between something like Tavern Tales, where you're where you're talking about it's a passion project,
mm-hmm.
and these other big name games is that passion really makes a huge difference. And you can see it in every game that I've seen. You can tell if there's a lot of passion put into it,
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
I think I've seen over and over again in my life that if you're passionate about something, you're going to be better at it than if you're not. That's just, it's just a fact of life.
Yeah, and it definitely helps to stay motivated if you've got if you care about what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, again, same thing as what I was saying in the with the film industry. I mean, yeah, you love what you do, so those crazy conditions that you're working in don't feel like crazy conditions. They're much easier to handle and deal with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I totally agree. There's times when I'm sitting there, running my head against a wall, trying to figure out why the heck this isn't working like it's supposed to. And yeah, it's really aggravating, but it's fantastic when you finally get over that. Like my entire day Sunday was spent working with the developer of the UI system that I'm using now within Unity, trying to figure out why it's taking a minute and a half to load a character sheet in once I converted to that system. Right. So I lost a whole day in development just trying to figure out why it's not loading in a reasonable time frame.
Right.
That sort of stuff it happens, but I would see myself getting a lot more disheartened if I'm at work, and that's just I lost a whole day to this, and I've got a timeline. I'm supposed to be getting this out by X, Y, Z, and I'm doing that. I would be super frustrated, and it would just suck. But having it so that it's something that I'm working on, and just finally being able to accomplish that, I don't know. It's not as detrimental to my mental health.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I mean, preaching to the choir. That's I've definitely noticed that with modeling. I'll be working on a project, and it'll be 2:00 in the morning, and I've been up for 30 hours. I'm absolutely physically, I'm just miserable, but my mind will not let me sleep. It's just one of those things going, it's like, no, you finish it.
No, I get that as well. There's plenty of times where I'm sitting there just working on my game, and then I'll find out, oh crap, it's 2 a.m.
Right.
What the heck,
Well, you get into this creative fugue, and just from there, there's no stop. You're it's amazing what happens to somebody's brain when you're working on on a project that you're really passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
for sure.
time just disappears. It's amazing. So I was seriously considering giving this guy like an enormous cod piece, just because it would be like historically accurate, but nah.
It would be funny, but
It
let's
would be
keep it
fun.
PC.
Exactly. We'll put the enormous cod piece version in the DLC.
Gotta pay extra for that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Speaking of which, so we've been talking about that DLC a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and working on the game system itself. But we've also been talking about how there may be a second system that we're going to be releasing, which from what you've seen, it's so Tempest is very much a war game at the moment. But there's going to be another version of it that we're hoping to release that will be more like. Did you ever play Zombies? The board game Zombies. So it's a competitive, or well, it's not competitive. It's cooperative. It's a cooperative board game, but there's a lot of opportunity for RP in it. You can play it very much like Dungeons and Dragons, but you're trying to gain you're trying to survive a zombie apocalypse instead of that's the main setting.
Mm-hmm.
So the more we've discussed the lore of this, the more we realize that there's a second game, an entirely separate game that will be entirely ground based as opposed to entirely air based.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that will be, we're hoping that we'll be able to release that later as an add-on to the DLC. But
okay, it uses the same pieces, or what? How different is that?
So, well, Tempest is going to have quite a bit released with it, and it's mainly going to be ship models.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be all of the pieces that would be required to play a full game of the war game, and then the second version of it, which is the land-based version, is called Blood Divers.
Okay.
And that is a game that's based around the scavengers from the Tempest game.
Okay.
So basically, in the world of Tempest, there are places on the surface where you can go scavenge new technologies, new weapons for your ships, upgrades, things like that. And there's a mechanic built into the game for that. But only certain people are capable of going down to the surface because the surface has been contaminated by what's called the blood fog.
Mm-hmm.
So blood divers are a very rare species of human, or subspecies of human, that is immune to the blood fog. So they are the scavengers. They go down and hunt through these scavenger sites for new materials for your ships and for your cities. So the new game that we're going to be looking at is going to revolve around the blood divers themselves. So you'll be able to play a blood diver going down onto the surface and encountering all of the horrors that have driven humanity from the surface in the first place. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
but that'll include a whole bunch of character models. It'll include a bunch of NPCs, several terrain pieces that we're going to be designing specifically for it. That's going to be a big project.
That'll be cool. And I guess I haven't done a lot of wargaming, so I'm not sure how it would break up the action. But would it be possible that during, like in the middle of the game, when you're going in to do those scavenger runs, that the game kind of converts a little bit, and you can almost switch into that game where
that's actually, yeah, that's the entire concept behind this. Is we wanted Tempest to be as versatile as possible. So our primary objective was that when you started the game, you could play it like Risk, where you're, maintaining your city in the sky and, going through all of the interactions with other sky cities. And instead of just operating a single ship, you'd actually be operating entire fleets or squadrons of other ships.
Sure.
And that would be the full game type. But if you were to say your ship and mine were to encounter each other, and we wanted to see how a battle was resolved, there are mechanics to do that in a Risk-like fashion, where it's basically opposing roles. There are also extra mechanics to where you could basically zoom in the board and have a detailed battle between those two ships, including, damage that's caused by those battles, systems that can be taken down, enhanced storm mechanics. So you could do skirmishes between two ships. You could do what's called a storm battle, which is where two ships are fighting inside a tempered storm.
Dang.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different game modes that we've designed for it.
Sounds awesome.
So, yeah, it's gonna be pretty intense when it comes out.
So a question would be then, just thinking the limitations of working within Tavern Tales, or like on the quest, really is the limitation, would be how many pieces are in play at once, or how many objects would be on the table at any given time for a full scale battle. As big as it goes, how big does that go?
That's a really good question. CR, what do you think? Do you know? If you were to say how many pieces would be required for a full game of Tempest, probably what, 20? Ship spaces.
I don't flesh out that far.
Yeah. My rough guess would be 20 or 30.
Oh, that's it? Okay, yeah, easy.
Yeah. Which is one of the things I was eventually going to talk to you about with the resolution for them. If it's built to play the if somebody's going to play the full game and only that game, we were thinking about releasing two different sets of models that, if they were going to be playing only Tempest, would give them a little bit more detail in the models themselves. You should see what Gelf has been designing. She's
I'd love to. Yeah.
Genius. I love watching her design stuff. She's very, very good at what she does.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I'm very excited to see what you guys are putting together.
All right, we're just about done with this guy. I've got one more leg, the hand, the sword, the shield, and the head to do. What's our time looking like, CR?
Live 1 hour.
We've been live for 1 hour? Okay, cool. Wanted to do a check. I want to make sure that I take this thing off at least for a short amount of time, because visor burn is definitely a thing. So
So before Gravity Sketch, is that the only 3D modeling that you've done, or have you used other programs before that, or just you've only been doing it for a little bit now?
Well, I had done a little bit of work with Blender beforehand, but really not very much. I mean, I'd made a couple of 3D models
Mhm.
Nothing too fancy. Really hadn't gotten into texturing or anything. In fact, most of my knowledge of Blender that I have now comes from having started working with you.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
I'm really surprised with how far you've come with it, given only that limited amount of time that you've been working with. I've been using Blender for, I don't know, years and years now, and I don't even think I'm as good as this.
well,
it's pretty cool.
Thanks. I really I take that as a huge compliment. It's, I don't know. I've always been a kinesthetic learner, so I can listen to a lecture about something all day, and I will never be able to retain any of that information. But the second you put a system into my hands and just let me play around with it, a good portion of the time I can figure it out pretty fast.
That's cool.
So I think that was pretty much what happened with Gravity Sketch. Was I really wanted to learn a new system.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I had the opportunity to start making a model that was going to go into a commercial game, I realized that I really needed to. That was kind of my motivator to get working on Blender and really start learning the system.
Okay, dang.
Because I knew that was eventually going to be important.
So Blender 2.8 was already out when you started, then, right?
So I started just before Blender 2.8 came out.
Okay.
And then once Blender 2.8 did come out, that was when I really jumped back into it. I think I was back in like 2.72, 2.73.
Okay.
Was when I first started messing around with it.
2.8 was a game changer for Blender. It made it. I mean, it went from kind of what looked like a very obviously open source, 3D modeling program to, dang, this competes with the best of them. At least as far as UI goes and usability for new users. Like it was crazy. So yeah, now that 2.8's out, I think a lot of people will probably be getting in a lot more than they were before, because the learning curve seems far less. You can get crazy advanced with it, obviously, but just a regular person hopping on and being able to start modeling something is a lot easier now than it was before.
Yeah, no, that is for damn sure. When I first jumped into it, that was back before when right-clicking everything was to select, because somebody decided that was the most most accurate way of selecting an object in Blender. And I remember as soon as I saw that the controls were flipped around, there was this part of my mind that went, oh damn it, like this was obviously developed by a programmer who likes to kind of do his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows if this is going to be a program that I can learn. It was discouraging, but then I mean, you're not kidding when it comes to 2.8. Just the amount of approachability that the program has now is pretty impressive.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of relearning that I had to do because I was very used to the old interaction system, and they changed even just as simple as from right click to normal click, which it didn't make sense in the first place that it was ever a right click, but that's what I was used to now because I've been doing that for 6 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So getting used to that, like they had the option to switch to revert back to the old system while still retaining the features of 2.8, and I was like, no, I'm gonna learn this and I'm gonna do it right, because in the end it'll be better. But yeah, that was huge for me, but it's a lot easier for new people. It's a lot of relearning and just muscle memory I had to overwrite.
Mm-hmm. I think what I really liked about the 2.8 system is that now you have, I think, just approaching the UI itself and navigating around the program, that has been improved just by leaps and bounds.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I never, like, when I first started, there was no way that I could have figured out how to work a texture node system.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was, oh my god, right? Like, let's be honest here. Like, once you know the system, it's super intuitive. Until you can figure that system out, though, it is the bane of your existence, you know?
Yep.
So.
That looks nice. Gelf is sending me some screenshots now of some of the stuff she's working on. That looks awesome.
Oh, cool.
I was wondering, when I saw the first one, whether or not those stacked together. I like the look of that. Good icons. Yeah, that looks really cool.
Yeah, we put together ship sheets and game cards, the whole 9 yards. So
yeah, what all is needed then? I guess, again, not a war gamer, so this is new territory for me. Right now, we've just got character sheets. I'm assuming I'm going to have to put in some new systems to work with this. Oh, you said like cards?
So upgrades are in the board game version,
Mhm.
because we're releasing the digital version, but we're also going to be releasing a full-on board game.
Right.
So there is a card system that works with upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
So, but those are mainly like identification cards. As long as we have the ability to bring up as long as we have the ability to bring up like a chart that explains what all of this different systems is, you shouldn't need to use cards in the game. Cool. But again, I mean, those are mechanics that we're still working on. So that's one of the reasons why it's so good to be able to come to you about this, because we can see what the limitations of the system are.
Right.
Which are surprisingly small. That's what really impresses me about the system that you've created, is that the actual limitations for it are minimal.
Yeah, for sure. From the very beginning, I've had it with system agnostic in mind, so that you should, in theory, be able to play anything on it. But yeah, we're not quite there. I mean, this new update will be a huge leap in that direction, though, especially with the universal character sheets. Being able to put in anything will be useful for sure. Obviously, miniatures and scenery will need to be updated for any sci-fi or modern-based system. But again, those are all planned to be added in as well.
Right.
So as it stands right now, if you were to try to play Tempest in Tavern Tales, assuming you had the models that you guys are building out, assuming you have a full model set for playing, the pieces on the board, is there anything else you'd need to be able to play inside Tavern Tales?
You would need a city sheet. So we've designed the sheets more like how do I say this? It's almost got a somewhat Yu-Gi-Oh style play with the cards. I know that might be a strange analogy, but basically you have a card that shows what ship you're using, and then it's got 3 slots for upgrades, and then a commanding officer's slot.
Okay.
So every ship has a commanding officer that will affect its stats. And then those commanding officers can be upgraded and things like that. So the way that you get those COs is whenever a ship is built at your city, in your shipyard, you draw a card. And that card that deck has heroes as well. So you have a chance of drawing a really powerful CO or somebody with a special ability. Like we've got one. So one of the things that you've heard me mention, tempered storms.
Yeah.
Those storms are really dangerous to your ships. If a superstorm forms and you're near it when it explodes, because those storms can actually blow up
Okay.
and cause massive damage. But if you're near one of those superstorms when it goes off, it can disable your ship, it can destroy it, knock it completely out of the sky. So one of the heroes is a pilot who is trained specifically to ride out those kinds of storms. They're called the Rashanamis.
Okay.
So if she's in command of your ship, you have a 60% chance to negate all of the damage that you would have received, because she's able to ride that storm out. See what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's basically where the you get your upgrades from your COs, and then your the upgrades on your cards or on your ship, like the actual ship upgrades. Those can be anything from like single-use weapons, like torpedoes, to they could be like repair systems to help you repair damage after a fight. Systems that are designed to help you maintain a safe ship while you're in a storm.
Mm-hmm.
All that kind of stuff.
Is this stuff that changes mid-game? Like you're pulling new cards and adding abilities and features and stuff? Or is that static once you start, you've got what you got?
Nope. You'll have an economy that will allow you to buy upgrades. You'll also be able to buy, new ships and train new COs, all of that stuff. There's
Okay.
mechanics in it for the whole thing. Yeah, there's the thing about it is we wanted the system to be as complex or as simple as the player decides it's going to be. We have the mechanics to play an incredibly complex, very detailed game.
Mm-hmm.
If the players decide that that's what they want to do. But if they want to play a simplified version of it, the rules they don't require you to play the complex version. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So, but yeah, there's going to be quite a bit coming out. I started work on the Tavern as well, the map room.
I mean, yeah, that'll be cool to see.
I wasn't sure if you'd caught it last stream. That was what we streamed last time.
I was looking at the video. Like I went back and watched. At least from what I said, I didn't see any tavern room. It said something about tavern room or VR steampunk room, and I was like, oh, cool. I want to see what they're doing. But it was all a character design, so I may have just missed that part. But it seemed like a majority of the video.
Oh, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, one of the taverns that you'll be able to get into is going to be the map room of the USS Tempest from the book that we're writing. Okay. There's also going to be a novel series that'll be released with this.
What?
Yeah.
Dang. You guys are really working overtime.
Hey, Gelf and I are both authors. That's how we met. Was we started writing together.
Crazy.
And one of the things that helped really form Tempest was a story that she and I started writing in that world. So yeah, it's helped to flesh out a lot of the mechanics because we understand the lore, But there'll be a book series coming out that'll eventually don't know exactly when, but that'll all be based in the Tempest universe. I'm hoping eventually to be able to convert this into a cell phone game, like a mobile game. So you'll be able to play the entire game on mobile. Yeah, we're running with this, man.
Dang, you're not kidding. You're all in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I decided to do this, and again, like I said, it's hard for me to describe how meaningful it was for me to you agreed to let us be a part of this. Because being a game developer and working in this field, specifically working as a 3D modeler, has been a bucket list item of mine for a very, very long time. So when we finally decided, because this is definitely not just me, this is everybody on the build team, everybody in Nexus Dungeoneering. When we decided we were going to do this, I made a vow to myself. I was not going to, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this right. I'm not. I'm going to make sure that if, God forbid, if something happens and it fails, I will not. I refuse to look back on it and say it failed because I didn't try.
Yeah.
Even if only one copy of Tempest is sold, or two, because I know CR and Gelf will definitely buy one. So, if only two copies of Tempest ever get sold, and only a handful of people know how to play it, I'll know that I still threw my everything into it.
Yeah, that's a good mindset to have for sure.
Well, I mean, I'm not really a superstitious guy, but I do believe that whatever you put out into the universe that's what you're going to get. What you expect does have an effect on your life. And if you decide that you're gonna you're gonna do something right and really throw your everything into it, the universe answers that. The last couple of weeks for me that's been proof. I mean, I won't get too far into it, but yeah, if you ask Gelf, she'll tell you this has been a really powerful week for me.
That's cool, man.
Because of all this, so yeah.
Well, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. It seems like you guys are well prepared for success.
Thanks, man. That means a lot to me. It really does. We're gonna try. We sure as hell are gonna put our everything into it. So I am really liking this design.
Yeah, I'm definitely here for it. It's good.
I'm liking this so far. I'm wondering whether or not he needs a cloak.
Oh, that is a hard decision.
He feels like he needs a shoulder cloak to me.
Okay.
Like not necessarily like a full on, Ranger's cloak. I'm talking like just something that would come down from right here. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Let's do this. Since he was ex-Royal Guard would absolutely have the full cape. But X, so it's gotten torn over time, and maybe he tore it himself and turned it into a thing. So it'd be kind of like a tattered one that looks good on one side. We got a couple jagged edges on the back or something.
Yeah,
I like
we're definitely on the same page here. I'm liking this. Okay, wait a second. What did I do here? I messed something up, and I don't know where I messed it up. It's here. I know it is.
I don't see what's messed up.
Okay, I see what I did. So this part right here needs to go away because I needed the. I messed it up on this side too. See, because I wanted to get this section right here in there, so that there's a separation between the greaves and the boots.
Sure.
There we go. That's better.
I get it.
Whew. I'm gonna need to take
Yeah.
a break pretty soon here. I'm starting to feel it.
Yep, I know how that is. I will say Gravity Sketch allows for clean topology really easily. Like it just
Yeah, it does.
kind of comes naturally. That looks really good.
Well, especially with low poly models.
Mm-hmm.
I was just talking with one of my buddies about that. It's just how quickly you can put together a low poly sketch is definitely a selling point for me on this software.
Yeah,
It's a very, very powerful modeling tool.
when I get some time, or like it comes time to like start modeling more than what I'm doing now, I've got like a majority of the stuff done. But when it comes time to actually start revamping and starting getting more models out, I think I may just end up going with Gravity Sketch because that looks pretty awesome.
It is a really, really powerful tool. The more I play with it, and the more I learn about how to optimize my workflow, the more I'll swear by this program, because it's just, I mean, there's so much you can do with it.
So when you're rigging, do you have to rig in Blender, or are you able to rig in this and then?
Unfortunately, you can't rig in Gravity Sketch yet. So what I always do is I'll export it from Gravity Sketch into Landing Pad,
Mhm.
and then I'll import the OBJ. I'll download the OBJ and import it into Blender, and then rig it there.
Okay.
So let's see. I'm gonna finish this boot, and then I'm thinking we'll take ourselves a little break.
Cool. Sounds good. And actually, I've got some other stuff I've got to get doing tonight. So if you guys are cool with it, I'll probably just drop at break.
Hey, no worries at all, man.
Keep going, but I really appreciate the opportunity to come and hang out with you guys. It's been pretty cool.
Dude, of course, you're always welcome. You know, we love having you.
Awesome. Well, then yeah, we might make this reoccurring thing.
Sure. Yeah, man.
I like it.
Yeah. Like I said, you're very welcome. We love having you. So. And I'm thinking after the break, I'm going to come back and make the sword and shield boat. I mean, this is
looking good.
This is
looking real good.
Very, very close to done.
Does it give you a poly count while you're modeling?
Unfortunately, not. I cannot find an analytics tool in here. I do know that is a highly requested update.
Oh, okay.
So there are a lot of Gravity Sketch modelers who are wanting to be able to get their poly count while in game. Mainly because I mean I'm doing this with the Oculus Link, so it's got a little bit more power. But man, if you're trying to do this with just the Quest, and you really start getting into the high poly count models, I mean, it'll kill your system real fast. Yeah. Not like destroy the system itself, but I mean, your speed just goes down the toilet.
I wonder if they actually do they give you a limit, or does it just start frame dropping?
It just starts frame dropping real bad, and then eventually, if you start going much further than that, because it'll give you a warning saying, hey, your device memory is low. Recommend saving your work, and then within probably 15 minutes usually of that, if I haven't switched over to Link yet, it's gonna kill me. It'll drop me off.
Sure.
It'll just crash the program.
Are you able to like grab a ring and just extrude? If you like want to grab like a whole ring of let's say that whole foot, like the bottom ring of vertices on that foot, and then just pull the whole thing down, rather than like copying around like you just did. Can you just like grab a ring and go?
Yeah, this is your so these tools give you a whole bunch of extra stuff. You can do restricted face movement, but this is your loop select tool.
Okay, yeah.
So if I've got that selected, then that's going to select the entire loop. Or if you select a face, depending on what orientation you have, you can actually select entire faces too. So really, really, really handy when you're trying to extrude out legs and stuff if you're using the mirror tool, which obviously, since this is just a static pose, I didn't use the mirror tool on this guy, but
what's that low poly slider do that I saw?
Over here? Oh, that's just switching on and off low poly. If you have sub D on, so if I turn this on, right, that's gonna
sure,
give you your subdivision, smooth everything out. But then, and depending on what level you have it, I mean, you can turn that all the way up.
Sure, yeah.
And
the
then
low poly is the modifier of the subdivision.
Right. Well, it just shows you. It shows you all of the different polys. So you can see it from right here, and then if you go down, see they go the subdivision itself gets bigger.
Yeah.
So
of course. That's cool. Yeah, I like it. I very may will end up purchasing that then when it comes time to do more modeling, because I think I'd probably get stuff done a lot faster with that.
Once you get your workflow down and you figure out how to use the program, learn some of the quicker tricks to being able to make this work. This program is just insanely powerful. So
awesome.
All right. So, I think I am going to go ahead and pull that off. Oh man, yeah, visor burn's a thing. Holy cow! Oh boy.
Cool.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much for showing up, man. I really appreciate you being on the program with us.
Appreciate you having me. Cool to see your process and have a little input on what's happening.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, most definitely. And we do plan on making this into a series over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be doing hopefully one or two characters per stream.
Awesome.
Yeah. Golf saying you're awesome.
I see that. No, you're awesome.
But yeah, we'll be making this into a series. Hopefully, I'm going to try and make a female version of this tonight. I don't know if I'm going to get to it. Not sure. But yeah, over the next couple of weeks, we'll definitely be your birthday.
Kind of what I had in mind.
But yeah, man, we'll keep going with it. So, and you'll also be seeing this up on YouTube. So,
cool.
Yeah, man. Thanks a bunch.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys later.
Definitely. Have a good one, man.
All right, you too.
All right, everybody. So, with that, I think it is time for a little bit of a break because I have the visor burn in a big bad way. So, thinking maybe 10 minutes. We can go bio, grab some food, grab some drinks. Make sure you hydrate. I'm gonna hydrate. I'm gonna make sure I get some food. And yeah, welcome back. I know that was a little bit longer than 15 minutes, but visor burn is definitely a thing. So, everybody still hanging out? Everybody good? Are we ready to jump back into some gravity sketch? Because we've got a hand and a head, a sword and a shield to build. So, oh, shot! It's Crispy. I know who Crispy is. What's up, man? Choco Coda! Welcome, dude. Dagger! And Minicap? Had dinner and have tea. Yeah, I mean tea, dude. The tea is required. That's important. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump back into Gravity Sketch. So, if you guys have anything that you would like to say to me, let me know in the chat. But other than that, CR is going to be taking over yet again and interacting with you let's get to it. Alrighty. Ugh. There we go. Okay. Good? You good? Yeah? I think we're good. Sweet. Alright, so we are really getting close to finishing this guy. I'm liking what we've got so far. But I think that we're really going to need some epic weaponry for this guy. That's I think that goes without saying. So let's go ahead and draw out his gauntlet here. Righty. You know, as far as low poly models go, I've definitely learned that this technique of making a tacit with the hand covering really saves on polys, but gives a surprisingly realistic look. So go ahead and oh boy, there's definitely a little bit of lag. Okay, this is the one major downside to working on Gravity Sketch in virtual reality or on the Oculus Link is that if your computer decides to start slowing down, or if it's struggling, your frames, your ping can jump up, which is never fun. So I've definitely been noticing a little bit of jump in my ping. And thankfully it's not too bad. Alright, so what kind of sword do we want to give this guy? We've given him some pretty strong armor. So I'm thinking nice big broadsword. Something real mean looking. So we'll go ahead and do this here. And that will be our surface that we're going to go and extrude the blade out of once we've got that figured out. Come and do the tops of the hands and the fingers. Boom, boom, and boom. And then we'll go ahead and close this up in here. Delete that, grab that, there we go. Boom, and wow, there we go. Oh, there we go, close it. Go, close that, and that. All right, that's the hand closed up. Go ahead and do the rest of the wrist. And I am fairly certain that this model is going to be a little bit over 2,000 triangles, but that is okay because once we get it into Blender, we will be able to really fix a lot of that up. We can run a decimator on it which will cut down the number of triangles significantly. But we have to get to that point first. So blow this guy up even more so that we can get on the inside of his hand here. Definitely one of the coolest. I mean, I keep saying this over and over again, but that really is one of the coolest aspects of VR, is that when you need to deal with something that's really, really minute in detail, this gives you the opportunity to deal with those in a really unique way, because you can blow it up and go right up close and personal, which is absolutely invaluable when you're creating a character, or really with any 3D model. So do this here. You know what? We're going to go ahead and save on some polys there, because we don't really need a super amount of detail in the fingers. Do that. All we really want, and again, when it comes to low poly models, really one of your biggest deciding factors on whether or not it's gonna look more realistic or not is how you pose it. You're trying to imply more than you're trying to actually show, if that makes any sense. You don't have a lot of triangles to work with, so you have to get creative in how you represent certain shapes and how you represent certain poses. So in this case, as long as you add in this kind of this hint of the curve of the fingers right here, the human eye, especially when this is in miniature, the human eye is going to look at that and see a closed hand. You're really not going to notice any of the lack of material there. So now let's go ahead and extrude out a handle for our sword. Go ahead and put a gem on the end of this and make it nice and big like that. Nice big, kind of terrifying looking pommel on it. There we go. Really make it look mean. Right. So now we got that. Now we got to go through and extend that through the hand. Put that right there. There we go. Yeah, yeah, it is indeed the digital version of an impressionist paint style. It's very true. Yeah, the implication of shape and the actual application of shape are two very different things, I think. Low poly Renaissance. Hey, I am all kinds of down for low poly Renaissance. Let's do this. I love working in low poly. It's an interesting challenge because it gives you the opportunity to really explore things that you can't really explore in higher poly models. You know, having that limitation kind of requires that you get real creative. So, and anything I can do that will promote creativity, I am all kinds of down for it. Oh yeah, man, ain't that the truth? You know, that was I think that was that's one of the big rules of horror, isn't it? You know, the less you see of a monster, the more terrifying it becomes. You know, and I think that comes from the fact that just the human mind is so good at filling in the blanks. You know, with you can be the most detailed modeler on Earth, or the best painter on Earth, the most incredible creature designer, and nothing you ever make could ever be as scary as what somebody's mind is going to make up when they don't know what they're looking at. It's not an insult to artists out there. It's just that's how the human mind works, and it's fascinating to me. Righty. This big long sword handle, or sword blade. What do you think? Is that too long? Nah, I think that's about good. Crazy. Okay, and to kind of widen it out a little bit, we're going to take the edge and extrude out. Right. Thin that down a little bit. And I think we got a nice sword there, huh? Yeah, I think that pommel, or the crossguard, could be a little bit bigger. Let's fix that. So it really doesn't read. We got this nice big old blade, and this itty bitty tiny little crossguard. Let's give that a little bit more heft. Kind of get it down like this. You bring the end up into a little bit of a point. That. There we go. A little meaner looking, right? Bring this down here like this again. There we go. All right, that I'm a lot more happy with. I think that is it's definitely a little bit more what I was looking for. Move this up just a little bit. Close that. All right. There we go. It's a mean looking sword. Now for the shield. This is going to be a fun one. I have always thought, and I know this may sound weird, but I always thought shields were some of the coolest bits of gear that you would find in like medieval armor sets. The shields just they act as, I mean, yeah, they're very, very good at defending you, but they're also, they're symbols, you know. They represent your history. They represent, you know, what you're fighting for. A lot of the time, represents your family, your heritage. It's really cool concepts, I always thought. There we go. That. Ooh, you know what? I will be right back, guys. I'm sorry. I gotta hit the head real fast. Whew. All right. So, yeah, VR sickness is a thing, and Crispy, I will definitely be checking that out. I'm gonna try the swivel chair thing. We don't have much left. We have the shield. We have the helmet. And that's it. So, yeah, let's do this. Let's dive back in. Okay. And into the swivel chair we go. Much better. Pull this guy back over here. All right, so we obviously want a little bit of a curve to this shield, right? So now that we've got it, actually, let's pull this out. Just go. So now, one of the easiest ways I can think of to make that happen is now we've got two of these. Let's go into Edit, open our tools, grab our merge tool, and boop. There we go. So now we can go ahead and connect these together. See, I'm learning how to use the mirror tool. I told you. I told you I'd eventually figure it out. I'll tell you, the mirror tool will absolutely revolutionize your workflow. And normally I would be using it to create the model itself so that I could, put it into Blender a little bit later and rig it. But since we're not having to do that, we're just going to build them directly into a static pose. It's a little bit more time because you have to go through and do both sides, but I think honestly it's worth it. So let's go ahead. Come here. So now that we've got that selected, we're going to hit that Bake Mirrored tool. So now this is all one piece. So we can set this up. Is this going to be like that? What do you think? There we go. I think that looks cool. Yeah? Sweet. Okay. So, that's the shield. And last but not least, we're going to go ahead and turn off our mirror tool for this. We have to do the helmet. So let's go ahead and edit this. So let's see. If this guy is a royal guard, I'm guessing he would have a kind of regal looking helmet. But we're going to give him a T-visor because I always think T-visors look really, really cool. So I'm going to set this up like this, and then we're going to dive that whole thing. Let's grab this loop tool. Nope. Bring that whole thing in, and then down. And then out one more time. And down. So then we turn off our loop tool, go in, delete this, and delete this, and then do that. And there you go. Fairly simple T-visor. And just to make him look a little bit meaner, we'll pull these down nice and long. That. All right, so we got our visor done. Let's go ahead and so we're going to give this guy kind of a Spartan look, which I think is going to make him look nice and mean. I mean, he's a fighter, right? The fighter's got to look a little bit. You gotta give him that feel like this is the last dude on Earth that you would want to meet while he was pissed off in a pub, right? So pull this back like that. There we go. It's looking good. Close that up. This guy down, and there's that. Oh yeah. Oh man, I don't mind using a lot of triangles during the initial build process. I can always go through and decimate back down if I need to. So that's why I'm not really worried about how many triangles I'm putting in right now. I'm not exactly trying to make it. I mean, I'm obviously not going to be, trying to force it to be, a ton of triangles. And I am trying to be as judicious as I can with it. But I do know that when it comes to going in later and getting this ready for print and doing the rendered model for it, that it is much easier to decimate down and get rid of triangles than it is to subdivide and try to create more. So even though it may be a little bit of a risk, I think it's always better to go with more detail than less, just in case. You know what I mean? At least that's my way of doing it. There's and I will always be the first one to tell you I am no expert at this. I just started working with this program fairly recently, and yeah, I've learned quite a bit about it. There's no question about that. But I am certainly not an expert yet. At least not. I wouldn't call myself an expert. I'm really, really liking this design. I'm looking forward to seeing what this guy looks like once he's been textured up and rendered. That is going to be really, really cool. I don't know what it is about designing armor, but there's something really, really satisfying about seeing a suit of armor kind of come to life from what you were imagining. We already closed you off? Yeah, we have. Okay. And we're getting close. We're getting very close. We are just about there. Alright, close that guy up. So now we're really gonna have to blow him up so that we can get in here into these little nooks and crannies and make sure that he's properly taken care of. So let's go ahead and close this chin part up, and then we'll start going through and kind of piece by piece closing up the rest of the helmet. So this is one part I've noticed has always given me a little bit of trouble, is doing the neck. The funny part is I don't really understand why. There's something about doing the neck that I guess just getting the proportions right is tough, or getting it to sit properly. I always feel like the necks that I build in these low poly models feel like too thick and too heavy. But then again, every artist is always his own worst critic, so that's just how that works. An artist is always going to criticize their own work harder than anybody else's. But my neck sculpting techniques have always been that's always been a object of contention for me. All right, so let's go ahead and close this guy up. No, you go back there. Give me that. There we go. Close you. Okay. Go. We're getting close. We're getting close, ladies and germs. I can smell it. I can smell it. Which is really weird because I'm almost completely smell blind. There we go. Because we want to get that little hint of an undercut under the helmet if we can. But yeah, Crispy, I very likely I'm upwards of, if I had to guess, I'd probably say I'm closer to 2,500 triangles at this point. So definitely a little bit over, but I'm all right with that. I think I think that's going to give us plenty of give and room to play around. All right. You. You. Alrighty. Dungeoneers, I do believe that this is it. I believe we now have a finished model. Here we go. Let's turn that off. Let's get rid of our mannequin here. That's him. What was his name again? We decided on a name. Tim the Impaler. That is a god. I love that. I love Tim the Impaler. That's beautiful. Raygon. That's right. Some call me Tim. All right. Raygon, my man. You're looking good. Rhaegon. Okay, that makes sense. That's a very, very Game of Thrones style way of spelling it. I like it. Go ahead and give this guy just a little bit more beef on his arms, because he's obviously not a small dude. You need to... I mean, look at the size of that sword. He's got a big damn sword. Ladies and gents, I'm very proud of this. Oh, we do have one more thing we have to do. So we are going to do a very thin shoulder cloak. A dragon in disguise. Oh, that's totally an option. Come on, you bastard. I got you. There we go. That's what I was thinking. Yep, that's the goal. Oh, because earlier we were talking with Shinto. He suggested that since this guy was a member of the Royal Guard, that he would still carry the mark of that Royal Guard, even though he's been, disgraced from the role. He would still wear that mark of honor. Maybe, converted it himself to try and make up for something. So make up for whatever slight it was that he did. So we'll go ahead and give him one more here. No. There you go. All right. Dungeoneers. I think Rhaegon the Warrior is officially complete. And while I have thoroughly enjoyed building him, I'm very thankful that he's complete because VR sickness is a thing. So, that being said, I'll go ahead and jump out of here. I will save this. And I will upload it into Blender, and we will do some texturing on it. But that's for another stream. So thank you guys so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun. Mitch, again, thank you so much for coming on and being a guest on the stream. It was a whole lot of fun. You're always welcome here. But until next time, I think right now I'm gonna go take a little break and breathe into a paper bag to get rid of this nausea. But yeah, we will be back. I'm not exactly sure when our next stream is going to be, but it's fairly soon. Make sure to announce it in the next couple of days. Make sure to go check out the YouTube channel where we will be putting up where we will be posting the edited video for this, and join us next time when we make our next menu. Thank you guys so much again for watching. We'll see you around.
Hello, Dungeoneers. Welcome back to the outro. I have my lovely guest, Toki, here to congratulate you on making it through the video. How did you like it? Did you enjoy your stay? Do you have anything to say for the fellow people? That is just so cute. Okay, oh, he's busy. He's got places to be. Thank you for watching the video. Please look in the description. Find any links you like. Support your local artists. And